I want to tell you something before this video begins. You are not stupid. You are not slow. You are not bad at languages. And you are definitely not alone. There are millions of people, intelligent, hardworking, dedicated people, who know English. They studied it for years. They understand movies, songs, articles. They read perfectly. They write well. But the moment someone looks them in the eyes and asks a question in English, everything stops. The mouth goes dry. The mind goes blank. The heart beats faster. And the only word that comes out is a quiet, embarrassed. Sorry, if that's you, this video is for you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important thing you've ever heard about your English journey. And if you want more honest, real content like this, subscribe to this channel right now. We're here every week with lessons that go beyond grammar. Lessons that actually change things. Now let's begin. Part 1. You already speak English. You just don't know it yet. Let me say something that might surprise you. The problem is not your English. Your English is good enough. It really is. Think about it. You understood every word I just said. You're following this video without subtitles, without stopping every 5 seconds. That is not the English of someone who doesn't speak English. That is the English of someone who absolutely can speak, but has been convinced somewhere along the way that they can't. So the question isn't, how do I learn more English? The question is, why can't I access what I already know when I need it most? And the answer to that question is one word. Fear, not lack of vocabulary, not lack of grammar. Fear, and that fear has a very specific shape. Let me describe it to you, and tell me if this sounds familiar. You're in a meeting, a class, a group conversation. Someone asks you something in English, and in that exact second, two things happen at the same time. Half of your brain is trying to form the answer. The other half is already judging how the answer is going to sound. It's already imagining the awkward pause, already picturing people looking at each other, already writing the worst possible version of what's about to happen. And by the time that second thought finishes, your chance to speak is gone. That, my friend, is not a language problem. That is anxiety. And anxiety is something we can work with. Part 2, the story of Maria. I want to tell you about someone. Her name is Maria. She's 31 years old. She's an engineer. She spent 6 years studying English, classes, apps, videos, podcasts. By any measure, her English was solid, intermediate level, confident in writing, fast reader. But every time a colleague spoke to her in English at work, Maria would feel a cold wave in her chest. She would nod, smile, say yes, yes. Even when she hadn't understood, she would type her answers instead of speaking them. She would avoid calls. She would prepare entire speeches in her head before any conversation, and then forget every word when the moment arrived. She told me once, "It's like I know a song perfectly at home, alone, but the second someone asks me to sing in front of them, I forget every note." Does that sound familiar? Maria's story doesn't end there, but I'll come back to her. Because first, I need you to understand something important about why this happens. Part 3, why your brain freezes. And it's not your fault. When you feel afraid to speak, your brain does something very specific. It activates what scientists call the fight or flight response. Your body senses a threat. In this case, social judgment, embarrassment, the fear of looking foolish. And it pumps stress hormones through your system. And here's the cruel part. Those same stress hormones that are supposed to help you, they actually block your access to memory. They narrow your thinking. They make the exact part of your brain that stores vocabulary and grammar harder to reach. In other words, the more afraid you are, the less English you can access. Not because it's not there, but because fear is literally standing in the doorway, blocking the entrance. This means that every time you forced yourself to speak and failed, it wasn't because you didn't know enough. It was because your nervous system was working against you. Understanding this changes everything. Because you are not broken. Your brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was protecting you. The problem is, it was protecting you from the wrong thing. Part 4, what actually breaks the fear? Not what you think. Most people believe the solution to fear of speaking is simple. Just speak more. And while that's partially true, it misses something crucial. Speaking more while still terrified doesn't cure the fear. It can actually make it worse, especially if those speaking moments keep ending in embarrassment or freezing up. What actually breaks the fear is a combination of three things, and I want to teach them to you right now. The first one is called low-stakes repetition. This means speaking English in situations where nothing is at risk, alone, in front of a mirror, recording yourself, narrating what you're doing while you cook or walk, talking to yourself in English. It sounds silly, but it trains your brain to associate speaking English with safety, not danger. You're literally rewiring the connection between English speaking and threat. The phrase I want you to use every morning: I'm going to speak English today just for me, not for anyone to judge, just for you. The second thing is called scripted confidence. This is where you prepare short, specific sentences for predictable situations. Not full speeches, just 5 to 10 phrases that cover the most common moments where you freeze. Greetings, asking for clarification, expressing agreement or disagreement, giving your opinion on something simple. When those phrases are memorized and automatic, your brain doesn't have to work in those moments. It just retrieves. And when retrieval becomes easy, fear has less space to grow. Here are 3 phrases to start with today. That's a good point. I'd also like to add that, could you give me a moment? I want to make sure I express this clearly. I understand what you mean. In my experience, say those 3 sentences out loud right now. Go ahead. Nobody's watching. Just you and your voice and the English you already carry inside you. The third thing, and this is the most powerful one, is called the witness mindset. Instead of trying to perform English, you learn to observe yourself doing it. You step outside the panic and become curious instead of critical. Next time you speak English and something goes wrong, instead of, I'm so embarrassed, I'm terrible at this, you try interesting, I couldn't access that word. I wonder why. You treat yourself like a scientist studying a subject, not a judge sentencing a criminal. This one shift, from performer to witness, removes most of the emotional charge from fear. And when the charge is gone, the freeze starts to go too. Part 5. Back to Maria. Remember Maria? The engineer who forgot every word the moment someone looked at her? She started doing 2 things. Every morning, for 10 minutes, she would narrate her routine in English, out loud, alone. Now I'm making coffee. I prefer it black. Today is going to be a long day, but I'm ready for it. And every time she froze at work, instead of beating herself up, she would say quietly to herself, that was interesting. Let's try again. 6 months later, something shifted. She described it as the ice melting. Not all at once. Slowly. First, she started answering short questions without preparing. Then she started staying on calls instead of avoiding them. Then one day she gave a full presentation in English to her entire team, unscripted, and she said she actually enjoyed it. I asked her what changed, and she said, I stopped trying to be perfect. I started trying to be present. That sentence is worth writing down. I stopped trying to be perfect. I started trying to be present. Because perfect English is not what communication requires. Presence is, connection is, the willingness to try, with all your beautiful imperfections, is. Part 6. The moment your English becomes yours. There's a moment that happens for every learner who pushes through this fear. It's different for everyone. It might be a conversation, a job interview, a trip abroad, a single sentence spoken at the right time in the right place. But there's a moment when English stops feeling like a foreign language, when it stops feeling borrowed, when it starts feeling like yours. And I want you to know that moment is waiting for you. It is not too far away. It is closer than you think. But it will not arrive while you stay silent. It will not arrive while you practice in your head. And never let the words out. It will only arrive when you open your mouth, even scared, even imperfect, even shaking a little, and you speak. So here's what I'm asking you to do today. Just one thing. Find someone, a friend, a language partner, anyone, or if you have no one, find a mirror and speak to them in English for 2 minutes. Not a script, not prepared answers. Just 2 minutes of real, honest, imperfect English. And when it's over, whatever happened, say this to yourself, I did it, and I'll do it again tomorrow. Because that's what fluency is. Not perfection, not grammar, not an accent. Fluency is a decision made every single day to keep going. You already have what it takes. You always did. Now go speak. Subscribe for more real English content that actually changes how you feel about the language. Leave a comment below. I want to know, when was the last time fear stopped you from speaking English? Tell me your story, and I'll see you in the next one.